My name is Mike Butler. I'm here with Jamal Chandler. We've got Peter Resnicek on the line from ShadowTrader.net. And Peter, I remember back in the day, what, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when the old setup was with the actual shadows over your face. I don't know if you probably remember this for
What?
sure too. Old school Tasty
Yeah,
Live
yeah, yeah.
setup. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Good.
Good. What are you looking at today? What are you looking at this week? You think this is gonna be inside week or movement outside of the pre-market or the short week we've got here with the holiday coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think potentially bullish. I was talking about this last week that the downside activity just seems to be muted. It's like they're trying and trying and trying, but they're not getting anything for it. And one of the reasons for that has just been the extreme sector rotation that we've seen, right? You have a market where you cannot have a single day where all of the 11 groups in the S&P are pulling in the same direction. So you may have some days where tech is just slightly soft, but it's immediately going right back into financials, healthcare, or others. So that's what I don't think this is any much of a change before the holiday. Like I'm just looking over here on my minder where I've got those groups from the S&P, and like right now, consumer discretionary and industrials, which would be like XLY and XLI, they're really strong. And then there's a lot of what I call kind of pink on the screen, where sectors are down less than 0.5% from the open. And for instance, like communication, staples, utilities, this stuff is weak. And tech right now is actually very flat. I know we haven't been open very long, but it's marking literally right at the open. So I'm just kind of expecting more of the same, which means sector rotation. And to me, that's going to be sideways and maybe possibly higher.
How have you been positioning in these markets? Is this do you believe in the tech rally, or is this one you're interested in fading? And what are the multitude of ways of doing it? Because obviously you trade option stock futures, but how have you kind of
No,
placed yourself?
absolutely. So I would say in a nutshell, I would say very cautiously and kind of for a little while now leaning more towards short call sales, kind of leaning more towards on the short call side. Rather than being directional with debits. We do a lot of stuff with ratio spread, broken wing butterfly, unbalanced, things like that. Spreads that we know we can put on for even money or real cheap and like let them expand. But beyond that, like I said, I think we've been leaning a lot more on short calls on days when we see that those names are up, not just certain names of the market itself, just because there's a good amount of vol and premiums are pumped when things move in whatever that direction is, but there isn't that huge follow through, right? So that's kind of where you want to be, right? You want to have your premium as pumped as you can when you get into it, but you don't really want that follow through pushing that instrument, towards your strikes.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And SanDisk is one of those where it opened relatively flat and then just immediately sold off 100 points. If you had a strategy like that, you were definitely looking good, especially with short-term stuff. But
Right.
what do you make of this kind of macro rally in Micron and SanDisk and Intel? Some of these names outside of Micron, like some of these names we haven't heard from in many, many years, like Dell, IBM. Do you think that this is kind of just part of the AI boom and this is just a product of that? Or do you think that there's actual staying power in some of these names that we haven't talked about in so many years?
I think some of these names should have more staying power than others, because if you look at I think the hyperscalers are a better example. Like when I look at stuff like Microsoft or Google, some of this stuff gets affected by pockets of weakness in the AI trade here and there. Whenever it feels like every week or so the idea comes out that this is overheated and it's all going to come down. But the names that are really the ones you want to look at, I would say, at least for longer term traders, are the ones that have already, or should say had, a very viable business, right? Long before there was even an AI trade, right? So IBM is one of those, Google is one of those, Microsoft is certainly one of those. I mean, their ecosystem is huge, so outside of that. So that's where I would be looking.
Is there anything in the future space that's got your eye? I mean, obviously, besides the ESs and NQs, but we've talked this morning about Bitcoin a little bit. We've talked about nat gas. Obviously, gold has kind of been struggling to find its footing with the dollar getting strong here. Is there anything you're kind of paying attention to in those areas?
Yeah, I would say out of those two that you mentioned, definitely gold and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is really noteworthy here to me in that the attempts thus far, like if you guys can throw on that future chart you're looking at, can you flip it to an hourly on that BTC?
Oh,
Like a
you're an
60
hourly.
minute?
So you're actually really
Yeah,
trading
thank
this a
you.
lot
And
then.
so you see on the 60 minute, it's very clear how none of these moves below 60,000 have held, right? It's all just been rejection, rejection, rejection. And that speaks to me. Like I'm not doing anything in it right now, but I always just believe, keep it simple. If it keeps going sideways and it can't get traction and print 56, 55, 54, whatever, and it stays here, then the next move should be higher, right? Because it's just, to me, it's just accumulating more short interest as it's pushing against that level, but nobody's really getting paid.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, there's weird things I think happening overall. Like, we trade the IBIT pretty heavy, and I mean, we and this guy were talking. I mean, I got assigned on a put that's like 60 delta, bro, 2 months out. I mean, that's weird to me. So I think there's a lot of panic out there for whatever different reason, and there's also just people kind of keeping an eye on this thing. But I think at some point it's going to get a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I think it's
most definitely.
I think it's the old adage of when there's blood in the streets or when nobody's caring about it, like that's maybe when you should take a look. And I think IBIT, especially with the rejection, and you look at something like this, and it's very similar where it hasn't had the ability to go below 30 really. And if you look even further out, you can see there's kind of this line in the sand. And if you're trying to pick a direction, I think it's interesting to the upside, especially with the lack of call skew and the ability to have that be infused again into these markets if there is a move to the upside.
Most definitely. I totally agree with that. Absolutely.
Love it. Well, Peter, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see how these markets are moving. E-minis are up 82 points now. NASDAQ up 450. The Dow is up as well. The Russell's the only one that's red of that four, the group of four there. But we're going to take a quick 90-second break. You're watching Tasty Live. You'll see you on the other side.
Back in San.